The time for breaks is now over, as the Blue Lock manga has returned full force this Saturday morning. Michael Kaiser and Alexis Ness have a much-needed conversation, and its result is exactly what you'd expect. What's going on, everyone? My name is Animasu, and today I'll be going over the Blue Lock Chapter 290 leaks with you all, titled Pig. Before we get into that, if you enjoy the content I push out and would like to support me, consider clicking that subscribe button and dropping a comment down below. You can also find my community Discord link down in the video description, so feel free to join up and say hello to me and everyone else there. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into today's leaks, and I hope you all enjoy the video. The Blue Lock Chapter 290 leaks begin with intro text stating, "Words coming from a friend pierce Alexis Ness, leaving him frozen in place. Those without pride are unnecessary on this field." The chapter picks back up with Michael Kaiser doubling down on his earlier statement, once again telling Alexis Ness that he should quit football. Isagi can also be seen on the first page scanning the pitch with his metavision, and funny enough, beside him is a broken puzzle piece with the face of Alexis Ness on it. This basically implies that Isagi sees no current value in him as a player, which on top of Kaiser's words, just has to be BM. Please let my boy Ness have a breather. He's honestly growing on me as a character, and I really want to see him do something big. Obviously shaken up and trying to make sense of everything, Alexis Ness begins to stutter through his words with the saddest expression ever. He tells Kaiser that he hates the situation and everything that he's saying, because more than anything, Ness wants to help him become the best in the world. He cares for Michael even more than himself, and this was one of the main problems with their dynamic all along. Kaiser even goes on to question if Ness feels any special emotions or heat from being in this place, because this is a place where players put their lives on the line and clash with their ideologies and egos. As Kaiser says this, we see players like ITOSHI RIN and Shido Ryuze who are still burning bright, and even Igarashi on the bench, crying after giving it his all. The heat that they all feel is a passion that burns from deep within, and once again, this cannot be achieved by living or playing for someone else's sake. True talent can stand on its own two legs, and anyone who can't is just a pig that should disappear from this lifestyle. Michael Kaiser is saying this all while leaning over and looking down at Alexis Ness, even taking on the most terrifying expression possible. Ness of course then begins to break down and shed a few tears, responding that if he's not making Michael Kaiser the best in the world, what other reason does he have to play the sport? The poor kid even asks Kaiser what to do next, which surprisingly, Michael responds to by saying he doesn't know and this can't be solved through a simple conversation. Alexis Ness needs to do some real self-reflection and figure out what he himself wants and not anybody else. Kaiser even admits that he's not angry or upset with Ness. He just sadly never learned how to accept human emotions, and he knows that someone like Ness will not benefit him anymore. While walking off into the distance towards Isagi, Michael Kaiser finishes it off by saying that he and Isagi have no use for a stagnant pig like Alexis Ness. It's a super depressing and harsh moment, because with Ness covered in shadows, he once again is all alone. We then see Isagi yoichi reacting to this all, staring at Alexis Ness while stating that he just can't keep up in this ever-changing environment. With Raichi, Kerasu, and even Charles side-eyeing the poor magician as well, Isagi realizes that his talent is dying out along with everyone's faith in him. His eyes then turn deep black with white lines in them as he begins to have a realization about dying talents, but just then, the perspective switches over to PXG's lead ace, ITOSHI RIN. While strutting up the pitch like an absolute unit, Rin begins to monologue about how his fixation and destructive urges are being used against him. He still wants to crush Isagi and become the victor, but in this environment, he will need urges that can surpass even what he's showing now. Rin's tongue once again begins to droop out as he pushes back his hair, cursing under his breath while staring at his rival. Underneath the stress of this match, Rin knows he must adapt and find a new way to destroy Isagi yoichi. That is what will make him feel even better and calm these destructive urges. Page 9 then actually restarts this match with Bashir Munich's Kyura Jin throwing in the ball towards Isagi. With one defender close by and Nanase rapidly approaching, Isagi one-touches a pass over to Michael Kaiser, who swiftly traps it up. With a defender at both his front and back, the Nugent striker looks over to make a very unfortunate realization. ITOSHI RIN is already adapting and cooling his impulses, because instead of crashing through yoichi to steal the ball, he's instead sticking very close and marking their passing route. Rather than just spiraling into his impulsive nature, ITOSHI RIN is maintaining his composure and making these talented learners work for that W. By targeting the efficient pass rotation Isagi and Kaiser had going, PXG significantly slowed down the offensive and made them both slightly easier targets. We then see Michael Kaiser begin to dribble forward and try to make space, resulting in both Nanase and Zantetsu charging in for a double press of doom. With page 12 then showing Michael Kaiser holding off Zantetsu who's pressing into his back, Kyuragen then begins to scream out and offer his assistance. Raichi also steps in to help by running over near Kerasu and clashing with the Crow, expanding the amount of options Kaiser has while also alleviating some of the pressure. The problem is though, as we see Michael scan the pitch, Isagi yoichi is also isolated and has absolutely nothing to do. By simply calming himself down and slowing the play, ITOSHI RIN has forced Basher Munich into inaction and is slowly chipping away at them. With Rin keeping his eye on Kaiser just for a moment too long though, we then see Isagi yoichi break free off the ball, looking back to make eye contact with his homie. As he tried to tell them again and again, he and Kaiser are talented learners who will take any situation given to them and make a goal from it. Their job is to accommodate any issues in their path and revise the plan for efficient and optimal victory. In any situation, these two egoists will become the most optimal machine for a goal. With both players activating their metavision prowess, Isagi begins to run along the box as he believes that Kaiser can sense his intentions. With ITOSHI RIN obviously still lurking, Isagi just has to deal with one more player before having an open position on the goal. On the other side of things, we see Michael Kaiser having every eyeball and player aimed in his direction, which in the end, plays to their advantage. Going on to activate his Predator Eye, Michael Kaiser says that if it's just a split second, then he can make any path work fine enough. Sure enough, just like in the Manshine match, Kaiser then rips off an impact shot that threads through the crowd and into the goal box. Interestingly enough though, despite using Predator Eye, Kaiser's actual target was Isagi yoichi, proving to us that the visual prowess can be utilized for more than just shooting and goals. With one last swift movement, Isagi takes advantage of the confusion to slip behind ITOSHI RIN as he continues sprinting to receive this pass just feet from the goal. Isagi of course begins to sink back into his 0-point form while readying himself for this final moment. However, ITOSHI RIN, he once again has had enough of their games. Reacting in a split second before the ball could even pass him, we see ITOSHI RIN flip around and deflect this pass with his Destroyer Aura reshaping itself. Isagi and Kaiser are left with the most confused faces ever, because they literally just came up with this plan on the spot, and ITOSHI RIN immediately shut them down with no adaptation time needed. The final page just shows ITOSHI RIN slouched over, looking like a literal monster, as his aura flares up from behind similar to how Shido's demon wings do. Isagi is just left glaring at him in horror and confusion. However, the gaze of ITOSHI RIN, something is off about it. Flicking out his tongue while staring into her soul, ITOSHI RIN says that he's finally found a new toy to play with. The implications of this are pretty horrifying too, as it seems like ITOSHI RIN's eyes are the crystal clear flow eyes alongside the Predator ones with the sliver in the center. It's pretty much identical to what Michael Kaiser's eye looked like as he was making the pass. So does this mean that Rin is becoming an adaptable genius or a dual-headed monster in a way? Whatever the case may be, today's leaks end off with an outro text stating, "The genius shows an unexpected explosion. If they cannot surpass the beast, then they won't score the final goal." It's pretty insane that they're still treating ITOSHI RIN's character as if he's some sort of final raid boss after previously being handled by Igarashi. But hey, I guess character development is cool if he doesn't once again tweak behind comprehension. I also find it crazy how they're just passing around Metavision and Predator Eye to everyone like it's nothing these days, but you know what? Hey, it's the world stage. As that does sadly end off the chapter 290 leaks, I can thankfully say though we will continue next week with chapter 291, titled Blue Bad Boy. I have pretty much no clue what this could be referring to, but I can tell you some of my thoughts on what will happen next. When monologuing about Alexis Ness and his current use as a player, Isagi yoichi had some visual prowess thing going on that we'd never seen before. He was quickly cut off by ITOSHI RIN being an edgelord as usual, but maybe that was a hint for what's to come. One of our main character's biggest strengths is that basically everyone around him ends up evolving or awakening simply due to proxy, so maybe, just maybe, this is what happens with Alexis Ness. Whatever the case may be, feel free to drop your theories or thoughts down in the comment section as I really love chatting with you all. With that sadly being the end of today's Blue Lock leaks, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning into the channel. If you enjoy staying up to date with the manga or just want to support me, please feel free to click that subscribe button and join my community Discord. There you can chat with me, other members of the community, find people to play games with, and so much more. I hope you all go on to have an amazing rest of your day or night, and I'll see you in the next video.